just happened in Buffalo is something that even the most seasoned football fans are still trying to process. The Buffalo Bills didn't just win a game. They rewrote NFL history in the most improbable, jaw-dropping fashion you could ever imagine. We're not talking about a typical Week 1 victory here. No, this was the kind of game that makes people question reality. A 41-40 win over the Baltimore Ravens, coming back from a 15-point deficit in the final 4 minutes? That doesn't just not happen. It had literally never happened before. Until now. There's so many layers to unpack here. We witnessed statistical anomalies and feats that had never been done in the entire history of the NFL. Before this game, teams that scored at least 40 points and rushed for over 235 yards in a single game were a perfect 277 wins and 0 losses. That streak is over. Buffalo just handed the Ravens the first loss under those conditions. And it wasn't by some last-second fluke or a controversial call. It was Josh Allen and the Bills putting together one of the most clutch, fearless, and miraculous finishes the league has ever seen. Allen, the reigning MVP, played like a man possessed. He finished the night with 33 completions on 46 attempts, racking up 394 passing yards, throwing for 2 touchdowns and rushing for 2 more. That's over 400 total yards and 4 touchdowns with 0 turnovers. In just one single quarter, Allen threw for more than 250 yards and scored 2 rushing touchdowns. That's never happened in any game, in any era, in any quarter of NFL football. Until this one. And he didn't do it alone. Wide receiver Keon Coleman looked like a seasoned vet, not a young wideout making an early season statement. 8 catches on 11 targets, 112 yards, and a touchdown that looked more like a miracle catch. He was everywhere, and he was clutch from that improbable tip ball touchdown to the sideline catch that set up the game-winning field goal. Josh Allen clearly trusts him, and after this game, who wouldn't? But if we're talking about unsung heroes, let's take a second to appreciate Matt Prater. This man was not even on the roster a week ago. He gets signed late in the week, hadn't kicked in a game since tearing his meniscus almost a year ago. And what does he do? 5 for 5. 3 field goals, including the game winner, and 2 extra points. The guy is 41 years old, the oldest player to ever suit up for the Bills, and came off the couch like he had never missed a day. And the blocking on that final kick? Let's just say it wasn't pretty. Deion Walker completely whiffed on his man, but Prater drilled it anyway. That is veteran ice in the veins. Ed Oliver also deserves a spotlight. The defensive tackle had a monster game, registering 6 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, a sack, and a forced fumble. In a game where the defense, let's be honest, struggled for the majority of the night, Oliver was a rare bright spot. His sack helped push the Ravens out of comfortable field goal range, and his forced fumble on Derrick Henry was a momentum shifter. On a night when the Ravens were gashing Buffalo with big plays, Oliver stood firm. And speaking of new faces making noise, Joshua Palmer had a sneaky good debut. 5 catches for 61 yards, but it was the timing of his catches that mattered most. Huge sideline grabs and clutch moments, including one right before the throw to Keon Coleman that put Buffalo into short field goal range. He also drew a key pass interference flag that helped set up another score. The chemistry between him and Allen is already promising. Dalton Kincaid? Yeah, that guy's looking like the real deal. For catches, 48 yards, and a touchdown right out of the gate. And not just any touchdown, we're talking a bullet from Allen through the middle of the field, snatched out of the air like a seasoned vet. Then he followed it up with a massive sideline catch beating Marlon Humphrey. No easy task to help set up a field goal. He even had some solid blocks, showing growth in an area that many questioned. Kincaid looks locked in and ready to make a second-year leap. Running back James Cook may not have been in perfect rhythm the whole night, but when Buffalo needed juice, he delivered. Over 100 scrimmage yards and a touchdown on 18 touches. He was slippery, hard to bring down, and had a couple of big-time plays in the passing game. Even when it wasn't pretty, Cook found a way to get yards. That's what playmakers do. And then there's Jackson Haw, the rookie tight end isn't even known for catching passes. He was drafted for his blocking, but his first ever NFL target turns into a 29-yard seam route down the middle of the field, bobbled and secured under tight coverage. That play helped set up a touchdown and gave the Bills a boost when they needed it. And he had some key blocks, too. For a first game in the league, that's a way to make your presence felt. Let's also not forget about Brandon Codington, who had some crucial special teams moments that could have easily gone unnoticed. He opened the game with a kick return to midfield, giving Allen a short field to work with. And later, when he was clearly interfered with during a punt return, no flag was thrown, but he held onto the ball anyway. If he doesn't, the Ravens are probably starting deep in Buffalo territory. That's a micro moment that could have swung the entire game. This wasn't just a win, it was a foundational moment. And it wasn't just about the guys on the field making plays. Let's talk game management. Head coach Sean McDermott made two critical decisions that paid off in a huge way. End of the first half, the Ravens had a chance to double dip, score to close the half, and then get the ball back to start the third quarter. But McDermott burned all 3 timeouts during their drive, giving Allen 30 seconds. That's all he needed. A quick dart to Shakir for 26, another to Kincaid for 22, and boom, Prater knocks in a 43-yarder to cut the lead before halftime. Then, late in the game, down by 2 after a failed 2-point attempt, McDermott chose to kick deep with 1 minute and 58 seconds left rather than try an onside kick. The defense came up huge with a stop, gave Allen the ball back, and the rest is history. Those are the kind of strategic calls that can define a season. But maybe the most powerful part of this win was what it meant emotionally for this team, especially the new players. This was their welcome to Buffalo moment. Their introduction to what it means to wear that jersey, play in front of that crowd, and go to war alongside number 17. For the rookies, for the free agents, for everyone who just joined this locker room, this was the night they learned what being a Buffalo Bill is really about. Of course, the night wasn't all fireworks and celebration. As miraculous as that win was, it also exposed real issues, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Giving up 40 points at home, no matter how epic the comeback, is a warning sign. The Ravens sliced through the Bills' defense like it was week 1 of the preseason. It wasn't just a few bad plays here and there, it was systemic. Baltimore averaged over 8 yards per play and dropped more than 430 total yards on just 50 snaps. That's efficiency at a level you never want to see against your defense. And the most alarming part? They weren't even trying to do anything fancy. This was a game of fundamentals, and the Bills got beat in the trenches, in space, and everywhere in between. It felt like Baltimore had full control of the tempo from the jump. Lamar Jackson didn't need deep bombs or trick plays. He simply kept the chains moving, converting third downs, changing pace at the line of scrimmage, and keeping Buffalo guessing all night. The use of quick snaps and varied cadences created a nightmare for Buffalo's defensive communication. Every time you thought the defense was about to get set, boom, the ball was already out. That takes away the disguise element, which is a core part of what Sean McDermott and this defensive staff pride themselves on. When the Bills can't rotate their safeties post-snap, when linebackers can't shift coverage schemes, when the defensive line can't get properly aligned, it all falls apart fast. And it did. What made matters worse was the tackling. Or better said, the lack of it. Missed tackles turned 5-yard gains into 25-yard explosions. Blockers were reaching the second level far too easily. When the Bills' defenders were late to diagnose plays, and they were late a lot, it put them in reactive mode, which meant poor angles, bad leverage, and chasing instead of attacking. And against players like Derrick Henry and Zay Flowers, that's a recipe for getting torched. Now, to be fair, there's context here. The Bills entered this game without 2 of their most important offseason acquisitions on defense. Michael Hoy and Maxwell Harrison were both sidelined, and those are guys who were supposed to be difference makers in this scheme. You add that to the list of injuries that already plagued training camp. Christian Benford missing time, Terrell Bernard not getting a full camp, Taylor Rapp and Cole Bishop dealing with issues. And suddenly the defense was being asked to perform at a high level in a complex system with players who hadn't really played together yet. There was rust, there was confusion, and there were growing pains. You can't simulate Baltimore's offense in practice. You can't mimic Lamar Jackson's mobility or the Ravens' ability to get you off your spot with tempo and misdirection. It's the worst kind of opponent to face in week 1, especially when your unit isn't fully gelled. And the defense looked like what it was, a work in progress. The fact that they were able to stiffen up at the end of the game and get the necessary stops is commendable. 2 3-and-outs and a forced fumble in the final minutes? That's how you respond under pressure. But overall, there's no sugarcoating it. This defense got cooked. If not for Josh Allen turning into a superhero, Buffalo is walking into Week 2 with a tough loss and a lot more questions than answers. And that brings us to the offense. Yes, Allen was sensational. He was the reason Buffalo stayed alive. But the offensive approach in the first half? That was painful. After the opening drive touchdown to Dalton Kincaid, the offense went into a shell. 2 straight 3-and-outs, both of which looked like they were called not to lose instead of to win. James Cook picks up 9 yards on first down. Great. Then 2 stuffed runs and a punt. Next possession, 3 dink-and-dunk passes that go absolutely nowhere. It felt like the play calling got scared, as if the staff already knew the defense was in for a long night, and they wanted to play keep away. But that's not how this team is built. This isn't the 2001 Ravens. You don't win games by hiding your quarterback. You win by putting the ball in his hands and letting him create chaos. That's what Josh Allen does, and that's exactly what he did. After those stall drives, he decided enough was enough. You could feel it. He started improvising, extending plays, pushing the ball downfield, and making defenders miss with his legs. He played angry. Not reckless, angry. And there's a difference. It wasn't hero ball for the sake of it. It was calculated, and it was necessary. The fact that Buffalo abandoned that conservative shell and let number 17 do what he does best is the reason we're even talking about this game as a win. The coaching staff deserves credit for letting Allen take the reins, but also needs to learn from its early mistake. You can't handcuff a quarterback like Josh Allen, not when he's in his prime, not when you're facing a team that can score in bunches. This offense needs to be aggressive from the opening whistle, not waiting until they're down by double digits to start attacking. But again, credit where it's due. When it mattered most, the offense was surgical. The final drives were masterclasses in execution. No panic, no wasted downs. Josh Allen moved the ball with confidence, spreading it around, letting his playmakers shine. Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer, Dalton Kincaid, James Cook, every one of them made big-time plays in the fourth quarter. The protection held up just enough. The execution was sharp. And most importantly, the team showed poise. It looked like they believed, not hoped, that they were going to win. Even with the slow start, the offense still put up over 450 yards and 41 points. That's absurd. In a game where you trailed for most of the night, had back-to-back scoreless drives early, and were trying to play catch-up against a run-heavy team that's built to control the clock, you still found a way to score 41 and win. What this game really did was show the full identity of this Bills team. They're not perfect. They have real issues to clean up. But they are resilient, explosive, and led by one of the most unique quarterbacks the league has ever seen. They can beat you in so many ways. And even when things fall apart, they have the mental toughness to put it all back together in time to escape with a win. And now, psychologically, this one means everything. It's week 1. But this team already has a mental badge of honor. They've been through the fire. They've seen what it takes to come back against a powerhouse opponent. That's something you can carry with you all season long. When the games get tight, when the moments get heavy, the Bills have this memory in their back pocket. No deficit is too big. No lead is safe against them. That's a powerful message, not just for themselves, but for every opponent on the schedule. Before we dive back in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest Buffalo Bills updates straight to your screen. And hey, don't hold back. Let us know your thoughts on today's news down in the comments. The buzz coming out of Buffalo this week has left fans and insiders in a frenzy. Whispers around one Bills drive suggest that head coach Sean McDermott has drawn a line in the sand with one of his players, allegedly declaring behind closed doors, "He doesn't play for me anymore." While no names have been officially confirmed, the mere idea of McDermott making such a definitive statement has set the rumor mill spinning at full speed. For a franchise that has prided itself on stability and culture under McDermott's leadership, this development, if true, signals serious tension behind the scenes. Those close to the team describe a strained relationship that has been simmering for weeks, perhaps months, between the coach and this particular player. Whether the conflict stems from on-field performance, locker room attitude, or something deeper remains unclear, but the bluntness of McDermott's alleged words suggests this may not be a situation with an easy resolution. Fans are already speculating wildly. Could it involve a high-profile starter, a locker room veteran, or even a rising star whose trajectory suddenly clashed with the coach's vision? McDermott has built his tenure on discipline, accountability, and a no-nonsense approach. For him to reportedly shut the door so firmly on a player indicates a breakdown of trust, something that is nearly impossible to recover once lost. The Bills, still in the midst of a season with playoff hopes, now face a swirl of uncertainty. If the rumor is true, McDermott will have to answer tough questions about how the team plans to move forward without a player he seemingly no longer wants on the field. More importantly, how will this decision affect the locker room dynamic, already a delicate balance in any NFL roster? Until official word emerges, it remains speculation, a murmur circulating like wildfire through Buffalo's sports circles. But if Sean McDermott truly said those words, then the story is not just about one player. It's about the culture of the Bills, the weight of accountability, and the razor-thin line between loyalty and irreparable division in the NFL. That's a wrap for now. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay on top of all things Buffalo Bills, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what you think in the comments. See you in the next update.